So I just wanted to do like a little kind of summary of where we're at, how we got here, and try to document some of this experience because I'm not so great at videos and social media or just having my face on a camera. I don't really like it. But for the sake of preserving the timeline and the eventual history, if this goes well, and maybe it's important to kind of keep track of all this. So I guess it was about 3 or 4 months ago. I was walking my daughter to school, and we were talking about smells and what they mean to us and how they can create memories. And I kind of thought of the smell of fried chicken and how I really love it. And around the same time, we were passing the Street Smash Burger restaurant, and kind of made me think that when you're walking past Street Smash Burger and these burger joints, you just are instantly hungry. And then I thought, well, they don't really have any competition and it's just a new smash burger restaurant on every block every other month. And I'm wondering if people are starting to get tired of this. And then I thought, you know what, there's really nobody in Lisbon that's doing fried chicken well. Like there's some places that are doing it, but they're just not doing it well. So I thought, well, this presents a market opportunity, and there's nobody better to make fried chicken than an American from the South, or at least I think so. Do I have any experience making fried chicken? No. Can I figure it out? Yes, because we do hard things every day. And cooking fried chicken, although it has to be done the right way, trial and error can lead us to the right place. So within a few weeks, I had already found a business partner, a very talented guy who owns a very high-end restaurant with a lot of awards here in Lisbon, and he agreed to partner up. We struck a deal to where it was a combination of like a monthly payment until the restaurant was off the ground, on top of a buy-in in the equity of the restaurant. So we financed the whole thing. I paid cash for the trespass. That was a little bit interesting. We're renting a space from the city, but we have a really attractive lease. Like we're starting off at around 500 euros a month for this restaurant space, which is amazing. And we have a 20-year lease. So while it can go up by a couple percent a year, overall, it's a really nice position. And the space we got is just so well done. The people that owned it before, French couple, they went through a divorce, so it kind of sucks for them, but they invested a lot of money into redoing this when they took it over. The kitchen, the air conditioning system, the electrical system, everything is just done really, really well. The stainless, the equipment, the kitchen layout, just really well done. So it made it an attractive investment. And since then, it's been a labor of love, spending a lot of time with the cleaning itself and getting to know the restaurant and the space. Obviously, I've never had a restaurant before, so it's kind of a learning curve for me, but I feel like it's one that I'm excited to take on. So the goal is just to help get this thing off the ground and then manage it from a distance. I don't want to be hands-on and cooking food or coming every day to make sure that everything's running. I just want to come up with the vision, the branding. Well, I'm not personally doing the branding. We hired a really talented company to do the branding. They've done some really nice projects in the Lisbon area, and they seem super excited. So we hired them for the full package. They've come up with some logos, which has been interesting because in the beginning, I liked the first logo they presented, but it probably caught my eye because it looked handwritten. And I thought that a Southern American restaurant, the logo should be handwritten, and a lot of this should be hand done. Like the whole concept of the restaurant is not to be some concept where it's like, oh, somebody explained to me the menu and share plates where everybody gets 1/4 of a fork bite and then they're expected to leave happy and feeling special for have visited this new place and trendy place. Like, no, hell no, fuck no. This is a place where you're gonna come eat delicious food, you're gonna be full, you're gonna be happy, and you're gonna become part of this like a club, if you will, but like a clique where everybody's on a first name basis and we all get along, and you feel happy to come, you feel happy when you leave, and you can't wait to come back. So, moving along through the stages that we've had to go through to get to this point, we have this giant cooler display thing where the prior restaurant had like I don't know, a pastry display where they were selling biscuits and cakes and whatnot. And it's in the way, it's massive, it's covered in marble, and I have had a hard time finding a way to get rid of it. So one of the marble slabs on it, we're actually gonna cut up and put on top of the kitchen to have more workspace in the kitchen. But as of right now, we're still dealing with that, trying to figure out the seating location. Man, there is so much to figure out that I didn't really anticipate. The restaurant faces the south. It gets blasted with the sun. It's got this beautiful, cagey looking metal and single pane glass on all the way around the front. We took on a lot of water with recent storms in the last few weeks and basically just got annihilated with rain coming in. We did our best to maintain it, but ultimately some did come inside. It dripped down the walls from the top level down to the lower level. So finding a company to come in here and repair the windows from the outside. You would normally think this is a landlord responsibility, but when we talk to the city about it, they're like, no, you knew the condition of the property when you bought it, and so that's on you. I'm like, well, fuck. And then also, they're at some point gonna do a renovation of the outside of this building. It kind of looks like shit right now, just dingy and gray and grimy. The whole building is white with obviously this metal areas around the windows. Looking battleship gray is the paint that they use for the window area. So the point being, I kind of have to figure out a way to stop the water from coming in, but without spending a lot of money because that's not my window. And then after that's done, then we can really focus on getting awnings. I'm gonna tape up the windows with some paper so people can't see what's going on inside as we renovate. We've got to make a seating area. We're talking about ripping up the floors and putting some mosaic style tile to give you like this southern, an old 1950s, 60s, 70s diner style, but also in the south. So we don't want to have like, a bunch of metal showing. It needs to be a lot of wood, make you feel kind of like you're on grandma's front porch. So my partner Alexis, who is in this high-end restaurant space, there have been some kind of creative differences as we talked about the menu. Ultimately, it needs to feel non-Europeanized, in my opinion. Like, I've read books, I've read a lot of things, I've talked to a lot of people, and they're like, do not sacrifice on the truth of what your restaurant represents. So the Southern American food, chicken, coleslaw, French fries, salad, I guess, like mashed potatoes. This is what we're going for. We're not going to try to do anything cute, but we are going to try to do a little nod to Portugal somehow with an item on the menu that ties into their cuisine so that they don't feel like we've totally gentrified another location here in the neighborhood. Going through the food, like I haven't really done a whole lot other than fry a little bit of chicken. We're gonna go with some biscuits, some buttermilk biscuits. Buttermilk in itself has been a challenge because it's not typically found in the Portuguese cuisine, so it's kind of hard to find a buttermilk supplier. But we can either make it by processing cream into butter and then the byproduct is buttermilk, or we can buy it. It's expensive, but some of the bio-organic kind of unique stores have it. But anyways, Alexis had an employee working for him at his old restaurant. And she came from a Michelin pastry kitchen in Paris and then worked for Alexis. And now she's running a very nice pastry. Well, it's not pastry. It's a full-on restaurant in a nice popular area, and she's doing very well. It's become an amazing location where a lot of people want to go, and she's looking for some extra income and I think a creative outlet to spread her talents and fly a little further. So she is going to partner up with us. We're going to basically pay her by the hour to kind of help us develop the recipes, get the kitchen under control, figure out the flow. How does everything need to go from start to finish? The food coming in from suppliers all the way through prep, and then the kind of fulfilling the menu. How does that look from a efficiency standpoint? How to get the food onto the plates and out to the customers. As I mentioned, we've got this outdoor area that's just incredible. It faces the church, but it gets blasted with sun. So we're trying to figure out the seating. I don't want to deal with thousands of these stupid cafe tables that are metal and have to be stacked, and they look like crap and they lock up at the end of the night with chains and chairs, therefore creating a burden on the staff to move this stuff around at the end of every shift. I really want to do something where it's part of the building and it just kind of folds out. When we were in Scandinavia this summer, they really lean on that. And I think it's cool for the community seating aspect. You almost get like this picnic table vibe, and the wooden look is amazing for the Southern culture. So I think we're going to try to see if we can make that work. The architect that is part of the Dodo branding team that they recommended has come over, so he's working on some renderings and some graphics to figure out the seating. That way we can send it up to the junta or the neighborhood approval to see what they'll allow us to do and hopefully get that going. Talking about interior design, I mean, we initially were like, oh, it's turnkey, we're just gonna run with it. But what we've kind of found out is that there's a lot more to it than we expected. We're gonna cut some walls down, we're gonna take some doors off. There's this little room in between the two floors that the prior owners used as like employee lockers, but it's the perfect room to make a little cute, kind of like a hidden getaway for a 4-top or 5-top. So we're gonna probably put a booth in there and make it very kitschy and like Instagrammy, so that people can have a highly desired area. That's been one of the challenges that we were facing when we first took this restaurant, is how do we encourage people to go upstairs? So we've got this bathroom upstairs. Obviously people will come and go there as needed, but there was never a desire for many people in the old restaurant to come up here. And so I think the way we're going to bridge the two together is, we're going to cut down a section of the dividing wall. As you go up the stairs, there's a wall on the right, and right now it's pretty much all enclosed except for a little glass window. We're going to cut that wall so that it opens up and the people downstairs can see up, as well as, you know, when you're outside the restaurant, you can see more of the inside from the windows. And then you'll be able to see this little halfway house that we build from downstairs as well. It's going to just open up the space and make it more inviting to go up. Also, we're going to put awnings, if we're allowed, which I don't see why they wouldn't. We're going to put awnings above the upper windows on the upper floor. Not only that provides some additional shade from the heat and keeping it cooler, more comfortable upstairs, but also from people outside, it'll give them a visual identity that this restaurant has 2 levels, rather than having to tell them with a sign outside, which is what the prior owners were doing. And then thirdly, you know, just basically creating like a unique space up here for families and groups to come. We're probably going to do a communal long table downstairs to offer seating for like maybe 10 people, bar style, to where there are fixed stools to the seats, to the floor. And then upstairs, we'll have like this, also a communal table for a group of maybe 10 people can come and sit, or if there's a couple families, they can sit together. And then also we'll try to create like this environment where people are sitting in the windows. There's a really nice view of the church outside, and you know, a lot of sun coming in. So those were our main ideas. We'll probably also have a lot of these nostalgic Americana things for people to put in their hands, whether they're like domino sets or ring toss games, like little, you know, Cracker Barrel style, to where people can actually hold on to these things and feel like they're disengaged from their phone, they're in the moment, they're connecting with their peers and the other people around them. to basically make this. The goal is to make our restaurant like a third space or a third place. I think this neighborhood really needs that. I mean, we're attached to the Mercado, which in a lot of ways feels like the third place, but at the same time, the Mercado is a little bit segregated because it's got all these restaurants in different locations, and when people are ordering, they're splitting up and then they're coming together, and it is a little bit noisy, and it's exciting, but I think this will attract more of a Sunday style crowd to where people come and they sit for a longer time. We're really excited about breakfast. Like, I don't know if it's going to take off or not. It may be amazing. You know, I think there's Americans that probably miss the sausage, egg, and cheese on a biscuit, or bacon, egg, and cheese. You know, chicken on a biscuit. How Southern is that? And how delicious is that? So we're hoping that the breakfast angle will take off with these biscuits. We're going to be making biscuits anyways for our fried chicken buckets and meal deals for the families, but maybe this is a segment to where Americans miss this. Expats, they're like, oh, I need a breakfast sandwich. You know, this is not really part of the Portuguese cuisine, but they're shifting their consumer behavior here in Portugal, and things that were not interesting to the Portuguese natives, say 5 years ago, are all of a sudden become very attractive. Putting food in your hands, not using utensils, I think has become more normal and less taboo. And I'm thinking that food on the go, breakfast sandwiches to go, are going to become a hot topic. Maybe they don't. But the thing is, like, if our location and the rent is paid, regardless, it doesn't matter if it takes off or not. Because if it doesn't take off, we still have lunch and dinner, and then we managed to get a license until 2 a.m. So this is going to help with not only takeaway, like people getting drunk and wanting to have some late night munchies. Oh, chicken sandwich, I can get that. I don't just need McDonald's. It's something a little better. I think having that premium nod to late night food is going to do well for us. But the cocktail side, like, I'm really excited about having some cocktail options here in the neighborhood. There's only one other cocktail bar. It's on the other side of our neighborhood, and I feel like that one's a little more bougeified. Like, do you have a reservation? Like, it's in a basement. You know, it's very hidden. It's like a prohibition style, versus ours is going to be more kind of open to everyone, and with all these windows around the side and the location, I think it's going to draw a lot of people in. My goal is to do strong drinks, strong cocktails that are pre-batched, so that they kind of, you know, they dilute a little bit as they sit on the ice, but basically make them ahead of time to where you can get your cocktails delivered fast. There's nothing worse than going to a cocktail bar, which is kind of common around here actually, especially if it's busy. You get to a cocktail bar, you want a drink, and you order it, and you wait like 20 minutes. And then you never get anybody to come back around, and then when you do, like, you wait another 10 minutes. So my goal is to kind of pre-batch the cocktails, a lot of the ones that we'll put on the menu that can be, you know, they'll keep fresh for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 days, 5 days, and you could just keep them in a jug, pour them on ice, and add, if you have to have like fresh fruit juice or something added to finish the cocktail, you do that. Put a nice garnish on the top and call it a day, and sell a lot of them and sell them fast. And then, I don't know if it'll work or not, but maybe even people buy cocktails to go, or they order them for delivery. I mean, imagine you can get a Negroni in your Uber Eats along with your fried chicken. I mean, I don't know, maybe it'll take off, maybe it won't. But what I was going back to is having all of these different avenues for revenue for our business. Bubba's Fried Chicken, I think it's gonna, even if only 2 of the 3 or 4 potential revenue streams takes off, that's gonna be enough to pay the bills and make some money. That's what I'm really excited about. I'm definitely overwhelmed. Like, you know, I have a main job in Florida. I have a lot of things going on back in the States. I've lost some employees lately, and I feel like my business partner in Florida, I need to really mentor him and kind of train him up a little bit. We've been putting this off for years, and I guess the time is finally now that we've lost our right hand girl left about 2-3 weeks ago, and so that is definitely a stressor. And then, we're rebuilding, renovating a 300-year-old house in our neighborhood, which is also monumental. So there's a lot of stuff on my plate, and I feel like project managing all of them is kind of in my wheelhouse. My wife is like, Megan goes, oh, this is not something you should be doing on your own. You need to have other people helping you. Yeah, do I have people helping me? Yes. But at the same time, if I don't have my hand on the pulse, I don't feel confident that it's going to fulfill the vision that I need it to. And I also don't feel confident that things won't get missed. So I am a perfectionist by nature, and I'm comfortable putting a shitload of stuff on my plate. Is it stressful? Sure, but I handle stress very well. And although I might not be super organized and methodical or have the right organizational skills to have everything on a perfect little timeline, it somehow usually works out in the end. And as I see things start to come together, the clarity presents itself. So I have so much to consider right now as far as the branding and the direction of the interior design. What happens when? Where do we spend the money? I mean, talking about money, it's like some people are so analytical with Excel sheets and being freak in the sheets. Dude, I'm just like, I don't know how to say it. I've never lived life by a budget, and I don't say that to be egotistical or brag. I say that because I have just this gut feel with money and numbers, and that's how I've been able to grow the wealth of our family, is by taking calculated risk. And when I take risks, a lot of times I don't necessarily overthink it. I have an idea, I run with it, I go all in with my heart, I go all in with my efforts, and I just kind of crush it. And sometimes day by day it seems a little stressful, and I might get like, oh fuck, what am I doing? Did I bite off more than I can chew? Was this the right decision? But I usually don't have much buyer remorse. And there are days when I'm here where I feel alone. I'll come to the restaurant and I'm looking at all these tasks that need to happen in order to open this restaurant and this cocktail bar and this breakfast spot. And I'm like, oh man, like I had our housekeeper who's been spending a little time with her sister and friends cleaning here at the restaurant sometimes on the weekend. I come behind, I'm like, that shit is not clean. So I do it myself. And then I'm like, what am I doing cleaning a restaurant? Like, I am not a €7 an hour type of person. My value is so much more than that, but I need it to be done right. And therefore I'm just like overwhelmed sometimes. And I'm like, did I make the right decision? But I did. And I know for a fact that this is going to work out. So the Mercado, our not our landlord. Our landlord is the city of Lisbon, but the Mercado has representatives that are the liaison between us and the city. And there's a sweet little lady who only speaks Portuguese, and I think she's in love with business partner Alexis, and maybe me too. I don't know. She's very friendly. She met my wife Megan yesterday. She really liked her too, and she's basically like, oh, you're supposed to be open in 30 days from when we signed the lease, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So timeline, I think we're going to be open in the beginning of the summer. I would really hope to be open before July 4th, the birthday of America, our 250th anniversary. Would be amazing. But I just don't know if it's possible or not. We're just going to see. The construction is going to be day by day. We've got projects to do. Let's see, man. I'm very excited. I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but I feel like it's starting to come together, and I feel like it's gonna work. So bear with us and let's fucking crush it, man.